This is Charter Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. I'm glad that Don Knabe is with us today. He is a member of the Board of Supervisors in Los Angeles County, which the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development declared to have the largest homeless population in the nation.
Absolute fact. I think on two sides, it's unfortunate. One, we not only have the largest homeless population in America, we also have the largest homeless vets population.
And the largest chronic homeless population. Sir, what's happening? We are coming out of a recession, and yet LA County has seen a 55% spike in chronic homelessness in 2 years. It's mind-blowing to see what's happening, and it's all parts of the county. It's not just Skid Row.
Well, I think it's so multifaceted. I mean, let's begin. I mean, we've dedicated millions of dollars to try to combat it. The city of LA is trying to do a few things. You know, the whole point here being is that it's great to hold a press conference and say you're going to spend all this money. But one of the things that we've done is put together a plan and a strategy that's coming back to deal with it. Because when I say it's not just a matter of somebody sleeping on the streets, it's a matter of drug addiction. It's a matter of a broken marriage or a mortgage or different kinds of things. And some of those people are in our system. And that's what we need to access, because they'll come in to a DPSS office or some other place and the entitlement process, and then they go back out and they're homeless.
But I want to ask you about LA City, because you know better than I that LA City and LA County in the past have pointed fingers at each other as it relates to the homeless crisis, and that has not been effective or efficient. Have we gotten beyond that point? Are the two entities working together now, in your mind?
Almost working together.
Almost.
We're trying to come up with a joint strategy. We're each presenting our own case, and then at some point being able to work together, because it's not just in the confines of the city of Los Angeles. 87 cities, the other 87 cities have a homeless issue. One of the things that is happening is beyond the city of LA, on a regional basis, whether it be the southeast area, whether it be the South Bay, whatever area it may be, they're understanding that they have to be part of the solution. And it's not just downtown LA on Skid Row.
But I remember
these are our parks, freeways.
But I remember a few years ago the county had proposed creating these 7 centers for homelessness throughout the county, I think it was. And boy, talk about NIMBYism rearing its ugly head. I mean, that you had communities just going out of their mind about the possibility of having homeless in their
communities. And it's been a dramatic change, I think, in the recognition, because people's lives are being impacted. People now know people that are homeless. People now know people that went through the issues that we've gone through in the last several years. At the end of the day, Brady, it's all about housing and how you're able to put that. Not warehousing, but housing. And how you're able to create a strategy, one, to build more affordable units, which is tough because it goes back to two things. One, there's no way that you can spend your way out of homelessness.
Can we talk about affordable housing? Because I know the county is looking at that in a very serious way. And there was a discussion within the county about how to create more affordable housing units. You had hoped to adopt a plan that would use certain funds for affordable housing, but in the end, there was enough support to provide more funding for affordable housing. I guess $100 million over the next 5 years, is that right?
Right. I mean, the concern being is that sounds like a great number and a big number, but at the end of the day, that's without a plan. And so coming back has to be a plan on how to spend that money. Because I said earlier, you cannot spend your way out of homelessness. You have to have a strategy as it relates to housing. Two things kick in with housing. One is the funding. Two is the cost of the land, where you can find that. And most importantly was the issue you mentioned early on, NIMBY. Not in my backyard. I think we're a little bit beyond the NIMBY piece, but that's still going to be a problem, particularly on large, multi-scale kinds of operations.
But one of the biggest challenges in LA County is it's so darn expensive to build any housing in our community.
Or water retention. I mean, all the issues. I mean, it's the cost of land here in Southern California. So you're going to have to look at opportunities like not old, but hotels maybe that are out of business. I mean, to where you can create a housing situation.
It's a creative solution.
It's an opportunity old manufacturing buildings that be created into, owner-type opportunities, because it just doesn't do any good to put 1,000 cots in a building and say, here, you're off the street, and here's a ticket, go get some food.
What about the proposal of the California State Senate, a bipartisan proposal that would create a $2 billion bond to build more permanent housing, specifically for the mentally ill on the street? Are you skeptical?
I'm only skeptical in the sense is that, again, it's a big number and a good number and a program that I would support. The mentally ill are the most important, the cog here, because what happens is that the mentally ill are the one that run and hide from you.
Right.
And they're the key element in this whole housing thing where you go out. I mean, we send teams out to talk to these people. No, I don't want to do it. No, I don't want to.
And that's the issue is they are service resistant.
Service resistant.
What are we supposed to do? If they don't want to come in, they don't want to come in.
Right, and that's right. And if they're not willing to deal with their addictions and everything else, it's just a revolving kind of a door. So
the new philosophy, and you hinted at it, is we got to get people into housing. And so through the Senate proposal, the state Senate proposal, and others, we've adopted this concept known as housing first, which is we're going to have people come in. We're not going to ask them about their drug use, their addiction. We're not going to drug test them. We're going to get them in, and then we'll deal with the situation. Do you think that's an appropriate approach at this stage?
Well, the thing I'm skeptical there is at some point early on. I mean, whether it's once you get them inside the situation, you have to deal with the addictions and the mental health issues. You cannot just let that go and say it doesn't exist, because they're going to act out inside the new facility they're a part of. So you really have to deal with that, and there has to be a way. I mean, when you go out, when we send these mental health teams and public social service folks out, you know how many times it takes them to deal with, to have a confidence that I'm out there talking to a homeless person. You have to have a confidence. And the first call, I said, no, I don't want anything about it. Then the second call. And the next thing you know, they're saying, okay, I might listen a bit. But it's taken 10, 12, 14 calls on these families and individuals and the homeless individuals to get them into the system.
And I know that many of those folks are working even more diligently because we are in the midst of an El Nino. And we have folks in LA County living on the LA River that's overflowing at its banks. And so the problem has become even more acute with regard to the homeless crisis.
And we've been very aggressive on our outreach teams. The Sheriff's Department has done a phenomenal job in this particular area. Again, building confidence and nurturing these people to say, look, we have a serious situation. We're not going to arrest you or do anything like that, but you need to move. And
are they moving, though?
Yes, they are.
They're willing to move because they have built homes along the banks of the LA River.
But keep in mind, they're willing to move in the threat of a danger.
But
all the good work that they've done recently will come back, because now with no rain for a few weeks, you got to watch. They're going to rebuild. I mean, I just wish some of them were creative in their job efforts, because I mean, some are hooking up to our power illegally. I mean, you go out there and there's something under a bridge and it's got electric lights.
But now that we have these folks within the system, as a result of El Nino, we've accessed them. Are they staying within the system, or are they vanishing now that it's sunny 1 week?
Some are vanishing, but some are staying with the system, because the immense potential problem with El Nino really forced some of them to look. And again, it's the ones of sound mind that you hope that you can access and keep them in the system. It's the mental health and the mentally ill that are the ones that are most in danger and you're concerned about, because they're the first ones likely to run, or the other ones are the ones with the drug addictions that need this stuff.
Okay, I want to thank you for joining us. This conversation will continue, I am sure. Homelessness continues to be a crisis in LA County, the state of California. We have been...
And the nation.
But we are at some level ground zero right now for the crisis.
Absolutely.
Doc Knabe, thank you so much for joining us. Of course, Mr. Knabe is a member of the Board of Supervisors in Los Angeles. My name is Brad Pomerance in Long Beach today. This is Charter Local Edition.